Well, it can't get any worse, right?
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen, proudly part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do, just follow along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. And that is one way to start a season as we look at a comedy of errors for the Sharks as they lose 4-3 in overtime to the Vegas Golden Knights. So we'll start out by breaking down what went wrong. We'll look at the positives of this game and what to build on, because there actually was a lot of good things to take away from this game. And then we'll dig into the numbers behind this game and why the Sharks, again, a lot of positive things for San Jose. So before we get to all that, I do want to let you guys know today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. What's the saying? If you tend the net. Yeah, just like we're going to start with Alex Nedeljkovic, of course, who just lost his mind there, trying to make just for 5 minutes. And this is a common theme from the Sharks last year, and it's already starting this year, of where the Sharks just for 5 minutes, they lose their mind and they don't know what to do. And you never know when it's going to strike, right? That's the beauty of it. It could happen in the first period. It could happen in the second period. It could happen as you're trying to close out a game against one of the best teams in the NHL. A game where you, especially at the start of the third period, you outplayed Vegas for good chunks of this game. And it looked like you were going to start to slay some demons. But the Sharks comedy hour strikes, as it does most nights when the Sharks play. And poor Alex Nedeljkovic, who, first of all, I feel horrible. I feel horrible for Alex Nedeljkovic because he feels horrible. Just the way he left the ice, he feels horrible. All right, so we don't need to pile on Alex Nedeljkovic because, believe me, he knows what he did, right? But he gives up the Eichel goal, which was a weird bounce, super soft. You have to stop those goals, right? We've seen enough of those goals over the past couple of years, of those just really soft goals, and Nedeljkovic has to stop that goal, right? But then in overtime, after you just made a amazing 2-on-1 save, great save there, right? And Nedeljkovic, other than those two plays, Nedeljkovic played really well tonight. Other than those two plays, big asterisks there, but just you could tell if you're gonna do it, and we know Nedeljkovic, we know Askarov, right? They're going to do plays like this, and they're going to make you pull out your hair. And tonight, it backfired on them. But the thing is, you can't hesitate. You have to just go. And he hesitated there for a split second. You see it on the replay. He hesitates there, and that's what cost him right there, right? That little hesitation, and he loses the puck battle, the puck race. He could have stayed back, and it would have been, probably a 2-on-0 or at least a one, a breakaway type of goal there, a chance. But it just a comedy. And I mean, even before that, right? You have Alex Wenberg who's trying to clear the zone. The puck hits the I've watched a lot of Sharks games in my life, right? How many times have you seen the puck hit the Jumbotron, or what is Jonathan Becker? He doesn't call it the Jumbotron because Jumbotron, like Zamboni, is right. It hits the Jumbotron, and you have like, I cannot, like, honestly, I cannot recall the puck hitting the Jumbotron at any point. Right, leads to like the Sharks probably, they look like he was going to clear the zone, et cetera, et cetera. Poor William Eklund has, he has an opportunity to ice it with an empty netter. Like, credit Eichel getting on his horse and getting back there, right? Credit to Eichel there. Eklund wins the battle behind the net, tries for the wraparound, and credit to Shea Theodore there, getting back, right? Not giving up on those plays, right? If the puck goes like half an inch one way or, a different way, it's 4-2. We're talking about how the Sharks, took a big step tonight. And unfortunately, right, we know exactly. And then literally the Eichel goal happens right next, right? I'm like still trying to like rewind to watch that. And then the Eichel goal happens like during that. Kurashev gets great. You get a nice play from Celebrini to Smith. Smith sees Kurashev crashing the net. Great pass from Celebrini. Great pass from Smith. Kurashev does and again, if the puck's like half an inch higher, it goes over Kierschmidt's. It like probably flips over Kierschmidt's pads and goes in the net, and it's 4-2 then. Just these are the things, right? As this team hopefully starts to learn to win games, and these 4-3 overtime losses are 4-2 wins, where they're able to get that killer shot, right? That kill shot to put a team away. And they had multiple opportunities tonight, and they just couldn't do it. But yes, just if it wasn't for if it wasn't for bad luck, I don't think the Sharks would have any luck at all, to be honest. Like, just an absolute ridiculous sequence of events to end this game from San Jose. Tough way to start the season, but there were a lot of positives, and we'll get to those here in a little bit. I actually do walk away from this game, despite all the weird and crazy stuff that happened at the end of this game. Like, I walk away from this game feeling really positive about the direction and the start to this season, right? Again, I don't think you're going to have those type of circumstances. Hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood. I don't think we're going to have those type of circumstances every night, right? Where a weird bounce from the blue line comes in, and the goalie's unable to stop it. The goalie makes a crazy play, right? You just miss an empty netter. You just miss this team has too much talent among its young forwards and young players, where, again, I don't think that those type of circumstances are going to happen every night. And I do walk away feeling like this team will be better this year. And I think you saw a lot of positive things to build on tonight. So even though, again, Alex Nedeljkovic, you can't lose your mind like that. And I think it's pretty safe to say Askarov will start on Saturday. That's the hope. And hopefully we get some of the other young children in the game as the Sharks look to rebound. But it can't get worse, right? Please. We're going to look at some of the positives from this game. We're going to talk about Ty Dellandrea, who I thought played really well tonight. We'll talk about kind of the new look defense, as there, some positive things to build on there, even though they had some issues as well. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, You'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Great thing about FanDuel is it covers any way you like to play. You can do parlays. So maybe you had, I don't know, Cam Scattaboo scoring 3 touchdowns and a Giants win. You're probably calling out of work on Friday. They have player props. They even have live lines during the game. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. All right, before we continue, we talk about the positives because there was a lot of positives for the Sharks to take away from this game. Do of course want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. If you haven't yet, perfect time to subscribe. As the season's here, we have 81 more of these to go through. Plus, of course, we covering the Sharks prospects, we covering the Barracuda. Plenty of great stuff. So make sure you're following along wherever you get podcasts, and of course, watch on YouTube as well. So, positives. Again, I don't like a lot of bad stuff happened, but like a lot of positive things happen. And one really positive thing, I think a guy who took a lot of criticism, right, especially for kind of being in the lineup tonight, at the cost of Michael Misa not potentially being in the lineup, but I do think Ty Dellandrea played extremely well tonight, right? And whatever it is, if it's just a new number, new year, new Ty, right? Wearing that number 10 this year, and maybe he just wasn't happy wearing 53. Maybe the 53 was just too much fabric for him and he feels more slender in the 10 this year. Whatever it is. Or maybe it's just not playing with Barclay Goodrow. That's my guess. But I thought Dellandrea was super effective tonight. He was all over the place, making good positive plays. He was playing hard in his own zone. You saw him on the penalty kill. We'll get to the penalty kill here in just a second. But I thought Dellandrea was a positive player tonight. Now, is Ty Dellandrea going to be your best player every night? No, and Ty Dellandrea shouldn't be your best player every night. But I do think he was not the problem tonight. He was far from the problem tonight. I thought Ty Dellandrea played really well, and he has played really well this preseason. And it looks like this might be he is building momentum, right? So whatever last year, maybe he fire lit under him. Maybe he realized I have to play for my job. Whatever it is, right? I do think Dellandrea was good tonight. I do think, kind of building off that, I think the special teams were very good. And yes, you got a 5-on-3, and we've seen the Sharks last year, right, have some of these opportunities, especially against a good team where you didn't take advantage. They took advantage of their 5-on-3 and they got a goal there. But for the most part, I thought the power play looked pretty good, especially the first unit. And this is something we talked about over the summer, right, where you're, for the first time in a while, you're having returning pieces, and you're not trying to integrate a whole bunch of new players and pieces into the power play, right? With Eklund, Smith, Celebrini, and Toffoli all returning kind of to their roles, and now you have John Klingberg on the back. I thought the power play looked sharp. And that, yes, I know the Vegas PK last year wasn't very good, but for the most part, I thought this power play was super effective tonight in creating shots and creating opportunities. And I think that bodes well that this power play will continue to hopefully get better and produce and be more of a weapon. And I think that's a big, if the power play progresses this year and goes from one of the worst to middle of the pack, that's going to do a lot for the Sharks team as they look to try to close out more of these games, right? It would have been nice, again, kind of in the third period when they had an opportunity there to get one. And I think that power play was probably the worst power play of the night. Maybe just a little bit too much pressure. Everyone gripping their stick a little bit too hard, whatever it is. I do think the power play looks good. And the penalty kill, that is a dangerous, dangerous Golden Knights team. And their only goal was off a set play, literally right off the draw, right? And that was the same play. John Tortorella, the former Flyers head coach, who's now like the analyst on ESPN, did a really great job of breaking that play down and kind of explaining what Vegas does there and how it's a set play. And like that's just a lot of guys on that unit that you have to account for, right? But when the Sharks got the PK set, right, because that was like a right off the hop type of goal. When the Sharks got the PK set, they did a really good job of kind of limiting that power play to like danger from some of their dangerous chances. And I think, again, Dellandrea and Graf were both excellent on as the forwards, being aggressive, making some opportunities happen there. Graf had a really great play on the PK to kind of create a little bit of an opportunity there. Like, I think the PK, hopefully, I think the PK can continue to build on this. And I think also not having Cody Ceci on your top penalty kill unit, I thought the defense played much better. Like especially with Orlov and Mook McDoulan out there. Like I think the Sharks should have a solid PK group this year, especially if they can play off here. And I think a lot of the veterans or like the new pieces tonight, all for the most part, they looked solid in their, Jeff Skinner with a goal. And that's how I had somebody who tweeted at me and said, like, he's new to hockey, hadn't really seen Jeff Skinner. And he said that was the type of goal I pictured Jeff Skinner scoring because of how I had explained Jeff Skinner and like what he does. And it kind of was like, look at that. Jeff Skinner, professional goal scorer. What did he do tonight? Scored a goal. Kurashev with a nice goal in that deflection. And he almost had a second one tonight. So, and for the most part, the defense, you saw Orlov making a positive impact. You saw Klingberg and what he's going to do on the defense. And Leddy was a little bit more kind of up and down tonight, but that's okay. Again, like you have to kind of give these guys some time to gel here because you do have so many new pieces coming in. But and just the way the Sharks played, right? Again, if Nedeljkovic makes a save there against Jack Eichel, we're probably talking about a Sharks win because the way that they were playing, I do feel like they were going to finish this thing off, right? And they were playing hard. They were winning puck battles, and like I think they went toe to toe with a very good hockey team tonight. And like, I do think that there's a lot of positives to build on. And I don't think this is going to be like, I do think this is a much different team than what we saw last year. And the hope is the veterans can kind of hang in there for a little bit until some of your young players get, acclimated, Misas and Dickinses, et cetera. And then those guys can kind of help raise the tide as they continue, kind of raise the tide, raise all boats, whatever the saying is, right? High tide raises all boats. They can kind of help raise everything up for this team. So, again, I know this loss sucks. Like this loss sucks because you were right there. You grabbed defeat from the jaws of victory. But I think this team's going to play hard every night. I think this team's going to win a lot of these games, or at least make teams sweat it out a lot more this year. And I think tonight was a good sign. Again, other than the Sharks losing their minds for 5 minutes, the Sharks comedy hour for that 5 minutes, the Sharks just everything goes wrong for them. So there's positives. So we're going to dig into the numbers of this game, talk about kind of how close, like how well the Sharks actually matched up. It was very much kind of a little bit more quality over quantity for the Sharks, as Vegas did kind of have some edges in some key areas, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the lines, look at especially how that new fourth line looked tonight, and, kind of wrap this bad boy up. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. I'm super excited to tell you about my new favorite jeanswear brand, Doer. I've been living in their performance denim straight jeans, and honestly, they've completely changed the game for me. I love my Doer jeans because one, they look great, right? It's important that your jeans look good on you. But two, they're 5 times the stretch of traditional denim. They feel stretchy without actually looking stretchy. Doer combines classic jeanswear style with the kind of comfort and performance you get from athletic wear. The best of both worlds. There's a reason why they call them the world's most comfortable pants. Don't take my word for it. Go try a pair on yourself. Doer opened a store here in Hayes Valley, so you can feel the difference firsthand. Go check them out on 567 Hayes Street. Mention our promo code LOCKEDONSF in store to get 15% off your first order, or check them out online at shopdoer.com/LockedOnSF for 15% off. That's shopdoer.com/LockedOnSF. All right, before we finish up, of course want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On NHL Game Night. They have every game, every night, including this ridiculous game, and they got you covered until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. So, again, like taking away the positive. And if you watch my preview on YouTube, right, we talked about how Vegas, such a good team at kind of controlling the puck, controlling the pace. And I know second night of a back-to-back, they had to travel, all that fun stuff. I get it, right? Vegas, though, is just like a more talented team, right? I don't think that's a hot take, right? Vegas, good. But 5-on-5, the Sharks hung in there. And that's all you can do against this team, right? Especially where the Sharks are at, is you hang in there and you take advantage of your opportunities. And they just needed to take advantage of one more opportunity tonight. So 45-41 of 5-on-5. The shot attempts 47-37 in favor of Vegas. So 56-44% Corsi for. Actual shots 24-19 at 5-on-5. The shot total in all situations was 21-23 in favor of Vegas, of course. But scoring chances 19-20 in favor of Vegas. And then 7-6 high danger chances in favor of Vegas. 1.93 to 1.74 expected goals for in favor of your San Jose Sharks. So again, Vegas definitely kind of controlled the pace and stuff a little bit more, especially the end of kind of the second period, where they really kind of put the hammer down. But right after the Sharks power play, that 5-on-3 sequence, Vegas really kind of put the hammer down and took control. But credit to the Sharks. Beginning of the third period, fought back into this thing, and they got that the go ahead goal to make it 3-2. Kind of held their own until again, we know what happened there. So but good to see, especially, but the Sharks needed more in that second period of 5-on-5. I think that's going to be a learning opportunity, right? Is after you have all those power plays there, you got to keep the momentum going. And that's where a good team like Vegas, they really kind of put the pedal to the metal there. So, but credit to the Sharks, though, for, again, responding. I thought the Sharks beginning of the game, beginning of the second period, beginning of the third period, beginning of the periods, the Sharks were the better team, and Vegas really kind of pushed back the second half of each period. So learning moments for your San Jose Sharks. For the forward line, so Celebrini, Smith, and Khrushchev played 14-25 time on ice, 8-11 shot attempts, 4-3 actual shots, 0.33 to 0.41 expected goals for, 4-5 scoring chances, 1-1 high danger chances. So I thought Celebrini got better as the game went on, which is to be expected, right? He played one preseason game. He was out for a lot. So wouldn't be surprised if Celebrini is maybe a little slow out of the gates here, but I don't think it'll take Celebrini much time to kind of get going, because again, the dude's special. So it was cool to see the A on the jersey. Really like the A on the jersey there. So hopefully if you got a Celebrini jersey, you can get that A put on there at some point. So or maybe just wait for the C. That's maybe what I would do. But anyway, I do think This line is going to take, like, we know this, the Smith and Celebrini chemistry, and they're going to do some stuff where, like, you have to kind of live with because there's such creative players and they're going to make some turnovers and stuff like that. But I'm going to, like, I want to see how this line kind of grows over the next couple weeks here. So Eklund, Wenberg, Toffoli, 842, 10-9 shot attempts, 4-4 actual shots, 0.12 to 0.21 expected goals for. They got a tough, they typically got the Marner line. And so, like, credit to them for being this kind of productive. Toffoli had a lot of great chances tonight. You saw Eklund continue to just that man on a mission, forecheck one, like F1 type of guy, go winning pucks, stuff like that. And Toffoli's gonna bury a couple here really soon. So it will be interesting though, like if when Misa comes in, if that's where Misa comes in at, but we'll see. Because that's kind of where he's been practicing, right? Is with Eklund and Toffoli. But like if this is your second line, like I do think like tonight you saw the Sharks much just more depth tonight up and down the lineup among the forward group. So Skinner, Dellandrea, Colin Graff played 722, 9-8 shot attempts, 6-5 actual shots, had a goal, of course, 1.14 expected goals for to 0.27 expected goals allowed, 5-3 scoring chances for that line as well. Good to see this line being productive. And again, like we talked about with Dellandrea, I thought this line looks really good. Colin Graff, just such a cerebral player, always in that right place at the right time. And you saw him tonight continue to do that. And again, the Sharks now have three lines where you have like legitimate scoring options on every line. And I think Skinner, you saw why Jeff Skinner scored a bajillion goals in his career. So then we saw Goodrow, Gaudette, Ryan Reeves. They played 5-16, 2-6 shot attempts, 1-4 actual shots, gave up a goal as well. 0.01 to 0.33 expected goals for, 1-4 scoring chances for that line. And you saw like Goodrow trying to kind of stick check Howden. That's a great goal from Howden. Like, this is a beautiful goal. He walked in there and just took that goal basically. And Ryan Reeves, like, this is gonna be the thing with Ryan Reeves, right? Is he's gonna, when things get close in games, Ryan Reeves is usually on the bench, and he played 119 in the third period when the Sharks were either trying to get a goal to go up, and then once they got that goal, he basically didn't play. So this is the, yes, having Ryan Reeves out there helps protect the young kids. I understand that, but like you can't ice them in these types of situations when you're trying to protect a lead or a type of scenario. So, but Ryan, it's weird booing Tomas Hertl and cheering for Ryan Reeves. It's just weird. And Tomas Hertl, dirty player, question mark. My wife, who like Tomas Hertl is like her favorite Shark player ever, like was like, is Hertl dirty now after seeing him play tonight? But defensively though, Orlov Mukhamadullin had a really positive night at 5-on-5. They were at 52% Corsi for. So when they were on the ice, 13-12 shot attempts, and the expected goals like that's your top pairing defensive line. Like they're going to be the ones doing this, a lot of the heavy lifting. For our Liljegren, 45.45% Corsi for, and then Letty Klingberg, 27% Corsi for. They got picked on every time they were out there tonight. So interesting to watch there, especially if you want to get a young Sam Dickinson in the lineup here. You do wonder if that might be your ticket right there. So Nedeljkovic, again, brutal final couple minutes, but 27 of 31 for saves, 4 goals against, 2.43 expected goals against, gave up 4. Save percentage, 871. 3 to 5 high danger shots, 8 of 8 mid danger, and 16 of 17 low danger. You know where that low danger one was from. I don't even know what you count the one goal. Is that a yeah? They don't even know because yeah, you have one low danger and he gave up 2 high danger. That's just it breaks the model. Just no, yeah, empty. I don't know, man. But yeah, overall, again, horrible, heartbreaking loss, but there's a lot of positives to build on. And if the Sharks just can turn the 5-minute comedy hour, if they can limit those a little bit more, we're going to be talking about more wins. So big game on Saturday as the Sharks host the Anaheim Ducks, or I'm pretty sure they host the Ducks. As the Sharks host the Ducks, and then and the Ducks lost tonight to the Seattle Kraken. So both teams are going to be looking to get off the schneid here. Sharks host the Ducks, and then on Saturday. So we'll have preview, reactions, all that fun stuff for you on Saturday. So make sure you follow along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and on TikTok at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until Saturday. Bye, friends.